Hey, everybody. Welcome to Chit and Chat Warriors for Health. Woo, woo. Thank you for joining us today. We always want to make a quick disclaimer that we, Coach Rose AJ, and I, Coach L. Kelly, are not medical professionals. We are just imparting upon you our wealth of knowledge in the space of wellness and health. Please check with your doctors if you make any changes to your diets or anything like that that deals with your health. Thank you so much.
You just do that so professionally and so well. I just be like, yeah, get
How
it
are you
all
doing today,
professional.
Coach Rose AJ? How are you?
Girl, I'm doing fine, super fine. Thank you for asking. My La Nietas are just leaving. I'm like, my son-in-law didn't even have to come in the house. They was ready, packed to go.
Why do you sound so excited about that?
Because I'm conversating with you first and foremost, and I don't have to worry about them bumping and jumping in the background. Okay.
Oh, I love
Oh,
it. I love it.
how
And
you
so
doing?
I am good. I am good. It's a busy day, but always
Mhm.
excited to do our podcast and talk
Yeah.
to the people and impart knowledge and share stories. And so today I think we agreed upon our topic is dealing with stress and how to
Yes.
best do that. Some of the
Yes.
different kind of ways that we can handle stress in our life. And I think that in today's world, that's always a good thing to look at. It's always something to consider because we're going to be dealing with stress in some form or fashion. And I think there's a lot of good resources out there, but that's what you and I wanted to talk about today. Is some of the ways that we have dealt with stress or some of the ways that we know to do that. And I want to start with you because I know you had mentioned something about, was it laughing yoga?
Okay, so
Yoga, laughter?
give you a little backstory. Let me give you a little
Okay,
backstory.
please.
Okay, folks, y'all know that Coach L. Kelly and Coach Rose AJ are coaches, right? We have different specialties, but overall, in general, it is health and wellness and intermittent fasting and just lifestyle, right? So we were both in a discussion, I think was it Tuesday night?
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Yeah, Tuesday night. And one of the coaches that was in there said that she was having a consultation with a potential client, and it ended up that she couldn't serve or meet the client's needs because it was out of her scope of practice, right? But she was able to help her in some business related matters and introduce her to other people. And I think there was another therapist or practitioner there that said, yes, that person definitely needs therapy, da 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 da. But I jumped in and said that not everybody is willing to go to a therapist or a psychologist and whatnot, because given my background and how I was raised and my belief systems, even though they are very healthy and up to date, there's just some things that aren't going to change for me. And the way that I helped myself growing up was through voracious reading, watching Phil Donahue and Oprah. I learned a lot from that, and it's called bibliotherapy. And so some people will go to their pastor, some people will go to their sister friends, some people will just go to their next door neighbor, whoever it is. So I wanted to offer that conversation that we had on Tuesday night, that coach, that person may have been the last resort for
Hmm.
the people or the person that was reaching out to be a potential client. But so long as she knew her scope of practice and could offer help and referrals in the area of, where the person needed it, unless they weren't a good fit, I was like, well, what's wrong with serving that potential client? What are
Hmm.
your thoughts on that from what you can recall on that conversation? I'm not looking for you to necessarily agree with me,
Hmm.
but everybody has their own hangups about seeking help.
Yeah. Um, I like the point that you brought up because at this point you have this person in front of you.
Yeah.
And if we're able to help and serve in that immediate space right now, then that's what we should do. Because you may turn this person away and say, hey, you need therapy. And that may be the case. They may need to speak with a therapist or a counselor. It may have been out of that coach's specialty. But I think that you take advantage of what you can do at the moment to help a person before referring out. So it's no, so I don't want to say that the person did anything wrong. We're just talking about, we're looking at that. It was just open for discussion. What would be the best way to handle that? And I think that if we determine that as a coach, this person probably needs more assistance or more help than what I can do. We just do what we can at our level, because this may be the last, you may be the last person they speak with about this issue, and they may not ever consider, getting us, some people never consider therapy or want to go to a therapist or have fears about doing that and opening up that way. So I think that we help. That's what we do. That's what that's what, being human is about in this space, is just helping others. And so I think that you made a very good point. Let me help you here at this point, because you may not go to a therapist after this, and that may have been a missed opportunity to maybe help this person. So I totally agree with what you were saying there.
Well, thank you for that. And I also think that because certain people may think that clients or people need therapy, if the person themselves don't think that they need therapy, but this is the kind of help that they need, roll with it, right? Roll with
Right.
it. Because in general, my problems, I'm not going to go to somebody that doesn't look like me, first and foremost. I know that sounds kind of harsh in some instances, but I'm really not, especially a therapist, because there's a lot of stigma that's tied to that for me as an individual, right?
Right.
And so, depending on what the therapist specialty is or isn't, their understanding of me as a human being born in the late 60s and the trials and tribulations that I've, endured,
Sure.
it may be me more educating and explaining to them why I'm there versus them actually helping me. And I don't have time for that. So
And you
that's where my drama comes in.
No, absolutely. And you never know what door can open up a door to another door. I came about coaching. I think I told you this,
Mhm.
because I had my own coach. It was a career
Yeah.
coach. And I didn't know such a thing existed. Our company was offering it at the time. And it was a 6-month coaching program for career purposes as I was progressing in my career. And it was amazing. And it was from that coaching that I decided, you know what, I want to really continue this. I would like to see a therapist or someone you want to talk things
Okay.
through. It doesn't have to be something, major or something like that going on in your life for you to decide, that you want to talk to a therapist. And so I really enjoyed that so that led me to, the next thing of wanting to do
Yeah.
that. So I really enjoyed that communication, and that came from coaching. So you just
I
never know, one door can open up another door, just from you
mhm.
starting there and taking away that kind of stigma too.
Well, actually, so we were talking about stress management and ways to help ourselves, right? So, do you want me to kick off? I have two. Do you want me to kick off one and then bounce it back to you?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, one of the ways that I really helped myself growing up, and like I said, with Oprah and whatnot, was through voracious reading. And there's actually a name for it. It's called bibliotherapy. So, I'm reading from my notes. Okay. So, bibliotherapy is also referred to as book therapy, reading therapy, poetry therapy, or therapeutic storytelling. And so, what people can actually get from that is learning, from how other people managed their similar problems, without actually, going and talking it out. And they can learn some coping mechanisms, they can learn some skills, and through storytelling, the stories don't have to be identical, but there could be
Mhm.
just some things that people extract from it, right? And so I love stories because they stick with me more so than the actual facts, like the news or science and all that stuff. So
Right.
that's how I used it, and I still use it to today. So any book
Awesome.
that talks about, problems that you're going through, or that shares stories of inspiration about how a person managed, it's a form of self-help. Yeah.
And what was the word again? Pronounce that again.
Biblio therapy, bibliotherapy.
Nice.
Yes,
And I
yes,
love that, because I love doing that. I didn't know it was a name for
yeah.
it.
We're randomness, right?
Right.
With
The random.
facts.
Yeah, I love that. And so
Yeah.
is that something that you've always done, or something that you've just picked up recently?
No, something from the time I was 7, 8 years old, because being an only child, the loneliness, the drama, the trauma and stuff. I would reread books like 10 and 12 times. I'd be at the library. It was just crazy. I remember some of my aunts actually taking books from me while we were at the ballpark watching a game. I would just read for hours in the car, but it was very soothing and it still is.
Right.
So,
Are there any particular types of books? Like we're obviously our focus is health and wellness. Does it have to be those topic areas? Does it have to be about mental health or just anything that brings any sort of relief or that's soothing to
yes.
you?
Anything, Campbell's soup. What is it? Campbell's soup. Do you remember those stories? Is it Campbell's soup?
I don't what?
Okay. Maybe it's not Campbell's soup. I'll have to look it up. But there's like compilations of stories in a book pertaining to like running, pertaining to cooking, pertaining to child rearing. I'll
Mm,
look it up. um Campbell's Soup for the Soul. I don't know. But anyway, so there's these broad books that talk about one specific area that you can buy, and there are like tons of short stories within the volume.
right,
Those would be things that I would read because it could hold my attention for 10 minutes, have a successful ending, and I would feel pumped.
right.
Okay, now you got me thinking. So while you talk about yours, I'm gonna Google that.
Well, I love that. So now we know that it's an official name for that because I love that. I love reading. Um, I love being inspired by different sorts of reads, whether
Mhm.
most mainly nonfiction at this point. I love to read anything that's really dealing with life in real time. But for me, I love to write. I love to journal. And for me, it does offer a sense of, kind of de-stress. If I'm experiencing something stressful or if my mind is processing things in a stressful way, journaling really helps to calm that kind of nervous system a bit. And it actually helps to put things in perspective too,
Mhm.
because sometimes when you can just write things out, actually get it out, this is and validate those things. That's really what you're doing too. As I journal, you're kind of validating, this is my experience now. This is what I'm experiencing. And I think that it helps to not only calm me, but also put things into perspective. What's real? Is what I'm worried about a real thing or my thoughts about a thing? So I kind of use it in that way as well to decipher what's true and what's not, or just to really just feel what I'm feeling. I'm
Okay,
upset and it's
okay.
true. This is how I feel.
Right. So let me ask you, how long have you been practicing? I call it an art of journaling.
So let's see. I think like yourself, like maybe since I could write, I don't know, maybe since like 10, because I think, I've shared before growing up a latchkey kid, I spent a lot of time and being the only child as well. I spent a lot of time alone and did a lot of writing. And so that would turn into journaling, writing, poetry, just another way of expressing myself, especially being a shyer kid at that time. I've since found my voice since then. I probably talk too much now,
Sister.
but
Oh, no, you don't.
but so I would say really early on, just that was kind of therapeutic for me because when you are growing up by yourself and spending all of that time, that was just another avenue. So it wasn't just watching TV all the time and that aloneness, but I really found that it was a stress relief to journal and work through my feelings, especially as a young person, right? There are so many emotions and so many things that we go through. So that was a way of, I guess, self-care. We didn't even call it that then, right? We don't know that when we're
Mhm.
young, but it was a form of self-care to kind of express myself and write and do the poetry and stuff like that. So it's been since early age.
Oh, did somebody show you how to do it, or did you do it intuitively, or did you see it on a TV show and say, "Oh,"
You
and
know,
pick it up from there? How did it start for you?
that's an interesting question. It's one of those God-given things, right? It
Yeah.
kind of just happens, and
Okay.
so I don't remember anyone saying, "Hey, do this," because I don't even know if we talked about self-care things and things like that.
Yeah.
Self-care, then, there's food in the house, your parents taking
Yeah.
care of you, you have a roof over your head. There's your
Yeah.
self-care. Have at her.
Right.
So now, so I don't think anyone I don't think anyone really
Um,
pointed that out, but I think that it's something that I gravitated towards.
okay.
I love to write, and that's just something that I love to do. It's kind of a passion, right? So that's something that I naturally gravitated towards. And then you realize, hey, this brings me feelings of calmness, and so it's something that, here we are right now at this age. It's something that I
Mhm.
still do to bring perspective to my life.
And can I share that I am really, really impressed with you on picking up something so young and continuing with it, finding comfort in the exploration, getting it out. I love to read. I love to talk. Talking is actually my superpower. Believing in myself and others is my actual superpower, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the writing piece of it, a couple of sentences is fine. I am very, very, very resistive to it. But I know from a therapeutic or from a practicing standpoint that just getting, vicious thoughts out of my head, vicious or unrealistic thoughts, whatever it is, out of my brain onto a
Right.
piece of paper. So I actually call them thought downloads. So if I scribble something on a piece of paper, the
Mm,
deal with myself is I'm going to scribble it on the piece of paper and I'm going to throw it away because
right.
that's just, it's out, it's done. I don't need to revisit it. Do you go back through your journals and revisit different entries and re-examine them or see how far you've come?
I do. I do.
Mm.
Not all the time, but it is something that I like to kind of backtrack and just because writing is so powerful. And if you're writing in the moment too of whatever you're experiencing. So it's kind of like going back into a time capsule to kind of look at, oh, I really have grown since then, or that's how I felt then. Sometimes I've written things where I'm like, I wrote that, because you don't, because you have to be in that headspace at that time, whether good or bad. So it's really good to see your growth as a person. And you mentioned earlier, I mean, there's obviously many ways that we as women can de-stress. We live very busy, full lives with spouses and children and animals and careers and all of this stuff. So
Animals are important. They
the
balance
animals,
everything out.
yes, the fur babies are important, but there are many ways. We're just talking about some of the ways that we can do it, but there's other ways. You mentioned the girlfriends. I love my
Yeah,
girlfriends.
yeah,
You, Coach Rose, just love
yes.
chatting it up. That is
Thank
like really
you.
a form of just, it's very therapeutic. I can't think
Mhm.
of anything, better than just a cup of coffee or a cup of
Yeah,
tea and talking to a
yeah.
girlfriend, taking a walk, just anything. It doesn't have to, like you said earlier, it doesn't always have to be exercise. But,
Yes, yeah.
I love talking about this because I think that, we live in a world of a great amount of stress. And I think
Mhm.
it's really important that we take time out for ourselves to do those things
Yeah.
that make us feel good on a daily
Yes.
basis.
Yes. Yes. And not wait for tomorrow because tomorrow may never come, right?
Yes.
It may never
Yes.
come. So, do you have any suggestions for people that may have always thought about journaling or meditating? Because to me, those are along the same parameters, even though they're really not. But do you have any pointers for somebody that's just starting out or that has been curious about starting the journaling?
Yeah, if you've been curious about it or just, and haven't done it yet, I'd say number one, pick you up a good book. I don't know why. I just like pretty things. So pick you up a nice, pretty book that's just for you. Um, and I would say set a time that you want to do that. For me, it could be in the evenings because that's usually when I have the most time after a busy day. And just set a time to get started and think about, what you want to accomplish. Do you want to, go over, because journaling is two different. I mean, you can be talking about this is what I did today, you know, but if you want to dive deep and understand, maybe some emotions or things that you're going through, this is a good place to start. Get that journal, pick up that pen, set a time that works for you. Maybe when there's no hustle and bustle and you have some quiet time, and just start journaling from the heart, whether that's, things that you're going through now, even if it's vision. I'm very big on vision boards. Maybe you're at a place where you're trying to envision some things that you want for yourself. That's a good thing too. It doesn't have to be journaling. This is what I did today, or this is what I'm feeling. Maybe start journaling some things you want to accomplish. I really feel like, and I really believe this, that there's power and putting pen to paper. It's like you're manifesting things, you're putting it out there. So journaling could be used for so many good things that, that bring up some positive emotions for you. So I'd say get started. Buy a pretty journal if you like pretty things, or just a notebook, and pick a time that you can do it and just start and figure out what it is that you want to accomplish with that.
Well, thank you. That is good. That's really good. And now, out of all of that, my mind held on to just start, pretty things, and vision boarding.
Yes.
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 So, in speaking and writing things into existence. So, I'm going to tell you a little story. Way back, maybe 31 years ago, my daughter, I was just starting my career. Girl, we was broke as a joke. Ramen and pork chops every night, but we was eating, okay?
Right.
So I was just starting at King County. I ain't never made that much money. And I always believed in taking my daughter out on the weekends, whether it was the dollar movie, just something, go to the zoo, whatever, we need to be out. And I remember I didn't get paid until the following Monday, paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And I asked her, I said, hey, can we borrow $5 from your bank, your little piggy bank?
Right.
And I will put it back. Now, Lakeitha, this hurt. I mean, Coach L. Kelly, this hurt me to even ask her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted an activity for the weekend. And I declared right then and there that I will never ask my 6 or 7 year old child ever again for $5 to finance our fun weekend. This is not it for us as a family or me as an individual. And
Right.
do you know, from that moment on, I've never had financial woes. I never had to rob my child's piggy
Wow.
bank and put money back.
Right.
So writing and speaking and doing vision boarding into existence will create the future that you desire. So speaking of vision boarding, do you do that on a routine basis? I know this is a little off, but we have a few minutes. Do
But
you
it's
do,
not.
I mean, off from what we agreed to
No.
talk about, right? Do you do vision boarding on the regular, or every year, or every quarter, every season? What's your experience with that?
So in December, I think it was December,
Mhm.
went to what do you call it? Michael's and Joann's and all these places, me and my daughter together, and got all of this stuff for our vision boards. And we actually did vision books. So, like back in the day where they had the photo album books.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes,
so,
ma'am.
so Michael's actually has those kind of photo album books, like it has plastic and you put the,
Mhm.
so we got those, and I actually did a vision book. And
Mm.
one of those had a health page. Each page was dedicated to maybe whether it was finance,
Okay.
health, wellness, food. Each page was dedicated to something special. One of them was health. The other one
Okay.
was wellness.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
started my certification soon after
Ooh.
that, not knowing that I had no plans on starting the certification, but it just kind of
Mm.
manifested. I really believe in that power of that
Yeah.
manifestation of your vision board. I think that's really important, to put pen to paper, to put your vision to paper, to get it out there in the universe and let God, that's who I follow, let that be, let the universe bless whatever it is you're trying to do by getting it out there. And that's just one of the best ways to do it. So I'm a big fan of vision boarding. I've been doing it for a long time.
So this is so exciting. But let me ask you, do you do it monthly, weekly, yearly, whatever?
I would
How do you,
say,
what's the
so
frequency?
for this vision book,
Mhm.
I built it for the year. But what I did for each page is I put blank pages around all of the pictures and everything so I could update and write in it on each page
Okay.
as I go
Okay.
throughout the year. So I do it. So, because we get into that mode of, oh, it's the new year, you know, we want to make these resolutions, but I want to
Mhm.
follow through.
Mhm.
You want to follow up, because then it'll just become dusty and then you forget all about
Yeah.
the vision. I
Yeah.
literally used to have a vision board all the time in my home office that I stared
Mm.
at. I don't have one right
Okay.
now. I may make
Okay.
another one, but I used to stare at that, and a lot of things on that board
Mm.
came to be as well. So you got to get it out there. You got to
Yes.
just, everything begins with
Mm.
a thought.
Hmm. So I am going, you've inspired me. I'm going tomorrow, in between my calls and in between the babies coming over tomorrow evening for a couple of hours. I am going to go get materials to create a vision board so that when we meet next week, I can show. I mean, it's going to be surrounding life, finances, the
Right.
kids, and travel opportunities and stuff. But
I
yeah,
love it. I
yeah.
love it. I
So
love
I
it.
will do that. Yeah. And then maybe start the year off with a different vision board, right? For myself.
Absolutely.
Instead of the book, that would probably be a little overwhelming for me, something that I want to aspire to.
Right.
But I will commit to doing that this weekend so I can have it ready for next week to show you.
I love it. Girl power.
Yes. So, can I share, Lakeitha, one more thing
Yes.
that I actually experienced? But we probably experience this on a daily basis as a form of therapy, but we don't realize that it's actual therapy, which is smiles and laughter, right?
Yes.
So, laughter yoga is a modern exercise involving voluntary laughter, and it's based on the belief that voluntary laughter provides similar psychological and physiological benefits as spontaneous laughters. And this is usually done in groups. And I'm going to be candid. I tried it one time, maybe like shortly after the 2020 issue that we had going on when
Yeah.
the library systems were open back up. I joined one time.
Okay.
And it was like totally weird for me. It's like people sitting in a circle in the library and you're intentionally laughing at jokes and doing stuff. It was just weird
So let me get this
for
straight.
me.
So it's not like you're sitting there and you're having belly laughs just for
Yes.
so someone's actually telling jokes or saying
Yeah.
funny things to inspire
Yeah.
you to laugh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this is what was crazy about it. I was like, oh, these people, oh, no, that wasn't funny. But I laughed because of how I was thinking about it. And I was laughing because other people were laughing. But I found out that people actually use it as a therapeutic approach to wellness. And it's
Mm,
free. Most of the time, it's free. And you can go on YouTube and find videos that guide you through this, or like you're actually attending a session. But I have to tell you, Coach L. Kelly, I'm crazy. I laugh every day. My students, all we do is sit and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. I've never been a day without laughter. Even in my moments of darkness,
love
I
it.
have laughed, right?
Yes.
So, have you been a day without laughter or a smile?
I try not to.
And if so, how did that
I try
impact
not
you?
to. I
No,
mean,
good.
I think laughter is therapeutic, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so if I can find something funny or anything, I just inspire to do that in the day. I don't care if I'm feeling down,
Yes.
like that is something to aspire to because I think there's just therapy in laughter if we can
Mhm.
find that. So I love that. I've never heard of this, but I
Yeah,
will say it's very interesting. That's
yeah.
very interesting because I do think laughter is a cure for it can be for, for someone who's feeling sad or down. If they can find it in themselves, if that's even possible to crack a smile even in the midst of maybe not feeling like it, I think that's powerful. So that's very interesting. I have to look into that.
Then it can go the opposite way too, that people might just laugh because they're people pleasers, or they might laugh because they don't
Mm,
know what to say, or they might laugh because they are making fun of themselves to be accepted with the crowd,
mm,
that kind of stuff. So
good
I
point.
like to use laughter to be genuine, the Kevin Hart kind of laughter, the Richard
Absolutely.
Pryor kind of laughter, right? So laughter
Absolutely.
from the soul, and it's good for the soul. So yeah.
I
So
think
it
it's
can
good
be.
for something like that, that maybe
Mhm,
I don't know how it worked afterwards, but a check-in afterwards to
mhm,
I don't know if it's that type of thing to
mhm.
genuinely see, did that make a difference? Was it a genuine exercise for everyone? It's good to do a check-in maybe, but I think it's interesting though. That laughter is a good thing.
Yes. So laughter yoga for those that are into that, or that just might be on their own and without, support. Hit YouTube or look at your local library. Or what's the other thing where like Eventbrite, those kind of things
Oh
that
yes,
offer stuff. Yeah. So do you
love it.
have anything else that you want to leave with the listeners today?
No, that's it. Let's just,
Okay.
keep laughing and
Mm.
smiling and, look to de-stress as much as we can in this crazy, crazy
Yes,
world.
yes. Thank you for being my virtual partner in crime on this podcast.
Yes.
Wellness, yes, wellness. We are going to take it to a whole nother level. Cagney and Lacey, or is that one word?
No, that's
Charlie's Angels
Charlie's
here,
Angels. Okay.
but of the colorful variety.
Right. I love it.
All right, my friends. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. And sure what we'll be discussing next week, but I will be bringing my vision board to say, ta-da, I did it. Do you have any ideas of what you'd like to talk about next week, or do you want it to be a surprise, Coach L. Kelly?
Let's let it be a surprise. And
There,
we kind of, sometimes we change our minds. So let's let it be a surprise.
no. So, folks, let me tell you, we be talking one week about, oh, we'll do that next week. And I forgot what we were supposed to be talking about this week. So let's talk about what we're talking about this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, friends, y'all take care. Drop something in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. And we look forward to coming back to hollering at y'all next week.
Bye.
All right. I gotta stop recording. How I stop recording? It's gonna lead